Hi there, this is Jonathan Gorman from iCreative, and today we're going to discuss four things. We're going to talk about app management, we're going to talk about the Notes app, the Apple Wallet app, and also messages and sending text messages. The first thing that we want to talk about is how to move apps around. How do we organize them? How do we add them? How do we kind of control where they are on the screen? The first thing we need to do is go into edit mode, and so to do that I'm going to tap and hold on any app icon, and then I'm going to select edit home screen, and now everybody kind of begins to jiggle a little bit. At this point I want to get the Genius Scan app from page 1 over to another page, so now I'm going to start to tap and hold and drag it toward the edge, and now of course all of my apps kind of get out of the way to make room for this particular app. Next up, I'm going to drag the Wikipedia shortcut over to page 1, and I'm going to kind of push it up toward the top, and everybody is going to automatically get out of the way. If I'm done, I can simply click on the Done button at the top. On an iPhone with a touch button on the front, you can tap on that, or you can just swipe up from the bottom. But before I do that, I want to talk about editing pages of apps. You'll notice that there is a small oval toward the bottom with some dots. Those dots, the gray and white ones, reflect what page I'm on in terms of our apps. But when I tap on that oval, I'm going to get this screen. Now I've got a total of 7 pages of apps, and maybe I'm not totally interested in looking at all of them all the time. The ones that have the checks on them are the ones that are going to be showing. So at this point I can either add more of these pages of apps, or I can even remove them by unchecking them. The minute that I click on Done, my changes are instantly saved, and now you'll notice that in the oval at the bottom the number of pages represented by those dots has increased. And so now I can start swiping through and I can see, aha, certainly I've got some more pages of apps here. So I'm going to click on the oval again and disable a couple of these guys that I'm not using all that often. A relatively new feature on iOS is something called widgets, and those are accessed by pulling left once from the first or the home page. You'll notice that I've got a couple of these large tiles, and each one of them has sort of its own function. To edit these, I'm just going to tap on the edit button at the bottom. And at this point I can hit the minus button on any of the widgets that I'd like to get rid of, or I can click on plus to add a new one. And at this point I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to see all kinds of kind of neat features that are available to me. And there's even some third-party guys like Shopify, QuickBooks. These guys have their own tiles in the event that I wanted to add some quick widgets of their information as well. So as I keep scrolling down, I can see that I've got all kinds of different choices. In this case, I'm just going to select the Clock app. The minute that I click on the Clock app, I have 3 options in terms of the size of this widget or what it's displaying. In this case, I've got 2 of the smaller ones and a larger rectangular one. I've decided to not use that one simply because I wanted to show the larger one for weather, which I think is really kind of nice. I tap on weather and I've got the small one, the medium one, and the larger one. And with one tap of the Add Widget button at the bottom, it's instantly added. Now why is everybody jiggling? Well, that's simply because I have an opportunity to move this guy around. And so I'm going to just drag him up, and the other guys are going to kind of jump out of the way as I do that. And now I've moved this guy second to the top, and since I already have one of these, I'm just going to hit the minus button to demonstrate how to remove it. And with a single click on Done, away we go. The small icon on the bottom right of battery, that is actually very handy as well. It's a nice widget to have because I can see with a single swipe over the battery life of, in this case, my Apple Watch and also my iPhone. It'll also show you your AirPods if you have those. So it's kind of a fun feature to play with. You are going to generally go to this for quick information. Things like a news app might have a compelling widget, or things that are kind of constantly changing. It can be handy to just kind of swipe over and check that out. So back to our big page of apps here. I always believe that it's nice to have the apps that you're using most often on page one. And that way, as you start to advance to the other pages, you can get to the things that you're using a little bit less often. If you have a number of apps that could basically be grouped together, you would then wind up with a folder, an app folder. And at the top, I've got utilities, photo and video, iCreative, and coding. So how do I go about creating one of those? Well, if I tap and hold on any of these, I can tap on Edit Home Screen, and all I'm going to do is drag Genius Scan on top of Panera Bread. And instantly, it creates a new folder for me. I tap outside of the folder, so now I can see it, and then at this point I can just keep dragging new guys in if I'd like. And this makes it really simple and easy for me to organize a bunch of apps based on what they do. Now, in the case of the one called food, that isn't terribly accurate, so I'm going to name this miscellaneous. So I'm going to tap on that folder, and sure enough, at the top where it says food, I can use the X to the right of it to wipe that out. For some reason, my keyboard isn't coming up when I do that. So that is how you would normally tap up there and change the name of the folder. To save my changes, I'm just going to tap on Done, and away we go. How does one get new apps on an iPhone or an iPad? You just simply go to the App Store, and the App Store layout is very simple and similar to many of the apps that we use, in that it has 5 icons. 4 or 5 icons at the bottom is very common on many Apple apps, and it just allows you to quickly navigate all of the different sections of the App Store based on subject. I've found it pretty handy to simply use the search in the bottom right to find out if the app that I want is available. So if I wanted something for Wikipedia, I would select it, and right here we can see that the cloud with the downward pointing arrow is simply going to let me re-download something that I've already purchased. Now the next app, V for Wikipedia, I've never purchased that, and so that's why it has a price on it. If I tap on the price, it's gonna confirm that I would like to buy that product, and then I can download it. But if I've already purchased it before, but it's just not on the device, then it will show the cloud with the downward pointing arrow. If I've purchased it and it's already installed, instead of a cloud, or in this case for V Wikipedia, instead of the $4.99, it's going to say open. And it just takes me as a shortcut to that existing app. So I'm going to tap on the cloud to download the app, and out of the sky it comes, and now it says open. If I swipe up from the bottom, I now have the Wikipedia app, which is up in the top right of recently added. Now this brings me to the app library, which is a new way that Apple sort of automatically gathers many of the apps that we have based on subject. I don't use this particular feature as often, but that is available to you, and it's kind of a nice interface, and the ones that you're using more often will probably be a larger one, in my case, email and text messaging. And if you swipe down, it's going to show you all of the apps that you have in alphabetical order. And the alphabet on the right-hand side of the screen is just like it is in Contacts, so I can take my finger and run it up and down that alphabet, and it'll leap from one letter at a time through my list of apps, so that's kind of handy. I can even do a search for any of the apps on here if I wanted to, just by simply typing in there. So that's kind of a nice little interface. Swiping back over, I also forgot to mention that when I'm in the widgets section, when I swipe all the way to the left from the home screen, if I go into edit mode and I go to plus, maybe this time I wanted to add a photos widget, and I tap on this, and I would like the large sized widget. When I click on add, currently this widget is going to be in the sidebar on the far left, but I can also drag this out onto my normal page of apps. And now it's going to appear as a nice big tile mixed in with all of my other apps. And I just wanted to show you that that's possible, and that's how you can get these sort of big, cool looking tiles of icons that you might, in apps that you use really often. Deleting apps is as simple as tapping and holding on an app and clicking on remove at the top, or you can click on edit home screen, and any app that you want to delete, you can simply hit the minus button. It'll ask you to confirm, are you sure you'd like to delete this or remove it from the home screen? And if you remove it from the home screen, it is still on the phone and is searchable, but it just won't show up as an icon. Okay, next I'd like to talk about the Notes app. The Notes app has lots of nice features of different things that we can do. I'm going to make a test note today. In the bottom right of my screen, you can see a small microphone, and that microphone's job is dictation. It is going to be used to convert my voice into text to save me from having to type. Some of us have smaller phones, and the keyboard is a little bit tough to type, really quickly, and so sometimes you can save a lot of time and hassle by dictating. So to accomplish that, you're going to tap once on the microphone. At that moment, it's going to start recording your voice and converting it to text in real time, not really recording, just converting. And so the moment that I tap on this, the keyboard is going to disappear, and the microphone icon is going to become a keyboard icon, which is sort of my stop button. So I'm just going to demonstrate by doing a sentence. I was walking down the street in Indian Wells yesterday, and could not believe how gorgeous it was, despite the fact that it was 6 p.m. at night in June! Exclamation point. When I tap on that keyboard, it stops, and it looks like it did a pretty decent job of converting my voice to text. There's a couple tricks here that I want to make sure that I share, because I've found great value in this feature, but only after finding out a little bit about what it expects. Number one, I have to speak pretty slowly, and my diction has to be very clear. You can also include the punctuation as you go, and it will be smart enough to add spaces and to capitalize the next letter and that sort of thing. So there's some really neat features that will save you a ton of time. But what happens if you didn't do it perfectly, or it misinterpreted some of the things that you said, or when you use names or slang or other terms of places, it may not understand what you're saying, and you have to go back and edit the text. So I'm going to do another sentence now to demonstrate the feature again. I'm going to hit return twice to get my cursor down a little bit, and now I'm going to tap on the microphone icon to start recording. It is amazing to see all of the variations of brown bears in the Sierra Mountains of Northern California, period. It is really amazing. It is really amazing to see what is happening up there on a daily basis! Exclamation point. So I said it is really amazing twice, and now I'd like to get up there and make some changes to my text. The best way to do this is you would think to just tap up there in the area and do the best you can to get the cursor placed where you'd like it to be. But by tapping and holding on the space bar, the keyboard goes away and you have kind of a free-form way to drag the cursor around exactly where you would like it. So I'm going to tap and hold, and I can drag the cursor anywhere I want just by moving it around. I'm just moving my finger around on the keyboard section. It's really easy and really fast to use, and this feature is available anywhere that text is editable, so it's really nice. So now I'm going to tap and hold and put my finger in front of the word amazing. And in just a flash, I was able to edit that text. The other thing that I think is important for everyone to know and to be very comfortable doing, and sometimes it takes a little bit of practice, is how do I select and cut and paste text? And everything I'm about to demonstrate is also available whether you're in an email, even if you're on the web, you can copy and paste text. If you're sending text messages, or in my case, I'm in the Notes app, anywhere where text is able to be captured or dealt with or typed or edited, you can perform these features really quickly. So I would like to just grab this entire paragraph and cut it and then go and paste it in another place. So the first thing I'm going to do is double tap on the word it at the beginning of this paragraph. And when I do that, two things happen. I get a little a menu at the top where I can cut, copy, and paste, but I also see that the word it is highlighted by a top left bubble and a bottom right bubble. And those bubbles are meant for me to tap on with my finger and drag out a selection. Once I've done that and I let go, I will get this little menu pop up that says, well, what would you like to do with this text? Would you like to cut it, copy it, paste it, or even format it? I also want to mention that the top left bubble in the front of the word it is also draggable, so I can change my selection from the front as well as from the back. Once you get a chance to play with this a little bit, I think you'll find its value is really incredible. And the moment that I let go, I want to also, so I am going to cut this. And now it completely removes the passage. I'm going to tap once, hit return, and kind of position my cursor exactly where I would like it to go, and with a single tap I have the option now to paste. So that's a really simple and easy way to cut, copy, and paste. And I can double tap on the word it, and I can drag this down, and I can even tap on the B, the I, and the U that represent bold, italics, and underline, and I can make this bold. I can underline the whole thing, I can make it all in italics, and I can even use strike-throughs, which can be kind of handy for shopping lists. With now that everything is highlighted, with a single backspace on the keyboard, I can even wipe out that entire paragraph. But since I had copied it recently, it's still on the clipboard, and I can just tap once and paste it again. Another feature that I would like to discuss is just the simple grocery list. And there's a small check in a circle at the bottom there. If I tap on that, then I'm going to get these little check boxes. And each time I'm done, in this case with cereal, I just hit enter, and it pops down and continues to create these little check boxes, which is really nice. When I click done, my list is saved, and now with a simple tap on the circle next to eggs or bread or cereal, it's going to highlight and tell me that I've done those. I can double tap on bread as well, and if I click on the arrow to the right of the word paste, I can also hit the BIU button and do strike through, and that way I know that that task is complete. If I start to gather tons and tons of different notes. How do I organize them into folders? Well, the first thing I want to do is draw your attention to the top left as I back all the way out to the iCloud folders that I have. In my case, I've got all iCloud, Notes, Recipes, Zoom 2021. And I'm going to go into all of my iCloud notes. We were doing a test note today. And I am going to change this just by editing. Double tap, swipe, hit the backspace button or delete, double tap, swipe down, hit the delete button. We are going to make Jonathan's lasagna. And we are going to pretend that this has everything in my lasagna recipe. So I'm going to use dictation in this moment just to demonstrate it again, tapping on the microphone and then speaking a little bit just to get a little bit of content into this note. Jonathan's lasagna is formed most easily by calling the local Italian restaurant and ordering the best lasagna that they have and going down to pick it up about 20 minutes later. Period. So I'm done with my note, and now that I'm done, from a note, I can move this note into a folder by tapping on the ellipsis or the little circle with 3 dots in it at the top right. From this menu, I can do all kinds of things. I can share it, I can send a copy, I can print it, this sort of things. But at this moment, I just want to move the note. So I'm going to tap on Move Note, and it simply shows me all of my available folders, one of which says Recipes. And when I tap on the word Recipes, away it goes. It actually brings me back to the note, so you're kind of wondering if it actually worked. So let's go and find out. Top left, all iCloud, and all the way back out to folders. And now you can see that the number beneath Recipes has changed to 2. And in there, of course, is Jonathan's lasagna. Going back a level, if I go into all of my list of many, many notes, maybe I wanted to move 10 or 15 notes at a time into Recipes, just so that I can kind of get organized. So I'm going to tap on all iCloud, and this time I'm going to click on the ellipsis again. But instead of having a move option, I simply have a select notes option. That's what I'm going to tap on, and then I get these little bubbles that I can use to select all of the notes that I would like to put in to a certain folder. You'll notice that Jonathan's lasagna is still in the normal list. It will stay there in the list with everybody else, but it's also been filed away into that folder for quick and easy access. In one fell swoop, I can move all of these 9 selected notes simply by tapping on the Move button bottom left. And just like before, it shows the list of all of my folders that I could put it into. And I'm not going to do this because I want to leave those notes where they are, but with a single tap on any of these folders, all of those 9 notes will instantly be whisked into that respective folder. The last thing I wanted to talk about is creating a secure note, which is a little bit of a different topic that I cover in our passwords class, but I would like to talk about this really quickly. If I go into Settings, and then in Settings, I go to the Notes section. And it's in the settings for Notes that I'm actually able to go to the Password section and add a password. If you have a phone with Face ID, you can enable Face ID to get into a secure note, which is really great. If you have Touch ID phone, meaning a phone that allows you to use your fingerprint, that's also an option, which is really, really handy and one of the neatest features about a secure note. You can, in this interface, create your initial password or change it. I usually recommend to consider using either the passcode that you use to get into the phone or using your Apple ID password as well. It's just kind of a question of how secure the stuff in your notes is going to be. I love being able to use Face ID, and I use it every single time that I get into my secure notes, so I don't have as much of a problem putting in a less secure password, but I'll leave that distinction for you. So to secure a note, now that we've entered the password into the notes part of settings, we can then go back to our notes, and of course we do want to protect this Jonathan's Lasagna super secret recipe. So when I tap on this note in the top right, I can tap on the ellipsis, and right there at the top I've got the little purple icon to lock this note. And with a single tap, it scans my face and adds the lock attribute to this note. And you can see now in the top right of the screen there's a little lock, and it shows that it's unlocked. I can tap on that lock and it will instantly lock the note. And so now when I go back to look at the list of all of my notes in the recipes folder, the Jonathan's Lasagna note now has a lock to the left of the word, up to the name Jonathan. So when I tap on this note from now on, it's not going to let me see anything until I tap on the word View Note, the words View Note, and then it scans my face and lets me in. If I wanted to remove the lock option from this, and on the ellipsis I can select Remove this time, and you'll notice that there's a little strikeout in the lock option. So the Secure Notes feature is very handy for, putting a little bit of sensitive information, and once the sensitive information is inside the note, the lock attribute will also synchronize to all of your other devices, which makes it really, really handy because of iCloud. So next up, we're going to talk about the Apple Wallet app. Now there's three main things to know about the Apple Wallet app. It's pretty straightforward. Number one is at the bottom we've got all these third-party app integrations. Number two, we can enter our normal credit cards, and those are safely protected using some digital cool technologies. And then number three, the last function of the Apple Wallet is Apple Cash. So the first feature really allows us to integrate it, in my example, Alaska boarding passes. I've got Fandango movie tickets. I've got the ability to, show the proof of insurance or my Starbucks card. These are all really neat things. In the case of the Starbucks card, I would need the Starbucks app to first add a gift card, and then I can get the Starbucks card to show up in the Apple Wallet app. Now, on that note, there is something that I think is definitely worth showing, which is the Add to Apple Wallet icon. So that little black icon, the little rectangular guy, you might see that from time to time in an email. Maybe you're going to get an email from, that has your boarding pass, or maybe in the case of Fandango, when they show me my ticket confirmation of my purchase, I can tap on that, and with a single tap, it's now going to add, in this case, the Frozen ticket that I purchased in December to the Apple Wallet app, which is really nice, because then this little QR code, or the little thing that looks like a crossword puzzle at the bottom, is literally what the guy is going to swipe to let me into the movies. So getting into the Apple Wallet and enjoying some of these integrations is really cool and very fun. In the case of the Alaska Airlines, it even shows me TSA PreCheck is part of this boarding pass, which helps me prove to them that I'm actually allowed to be in that line. And if you are trusting enough to get this into your phone, it does really work well. Of course, many of us, might just print out a boarding pass as a backup, but I've found this to be really valuable and works really well. The second is just entering a actual credit card into the wallet app so that you could physically leave your normal wallet with the physical cards in it in the car. The thing that I love about this feature is if I was to tap on this American Express card, you can see that the last four digits end in 5007. However, if I tap on the ellipsis, the circle with the 3 dots in it top right, and I see the information about this card, I can also call the direct number for support on this card and that sort of thing. But if I cruise down, the card number surely does say that it ends in 5007. But to the vendor, in our case, if you go to Whole Foods or some place that accepts Apple Pay, they are just going to see this number 7946. So they have no idea what the actual credit card number is, which adds this really wonderful layer of security to your credit cards. To add a new credit card, you're just going to simply tap on the plus in the top right of the screen. It's going to ask you if you'd like to add a transit card or if you'd like to add a new credit card. And you can just kind of go through the prompts. You can use the camera to scan it in, or you can punch it in manually. And I'm going to select credit card in this case. And there's a couple that are already known to my iCloud account. I'm going to say, no, I'd like to add a different card in this case at the bottom. And at this point, I can just start using the camera to grab all of my numbers, or I can enter it manually. There's usually also going to be another layer of authentication where they may send you a text message or an email to verify that you are the owner of that card. The third and final, and how do you remove a card? That's always a great question. If I tap on the card and then I tap on the ellipsis top right, for all the information about that card, if I flip it around with the ellipsis and scroll all the way down to the bottom, I can remove that particular card. The third and final function in Apple Wallet that I think is really amazing is Apple Cash. What you will need is an actual debit card, and you will need your checking account, routing information, and account number. You'll go through the prompts to kind of enter this information the first time, and when that happens, you now have this little area that you can put a little bit of money into, and then from that area you can send it to any number of people. This might be handy if you go out with some friends and they have an iPhone and they have Apple Cash, and maybe you just need to send your friend $50. So to accomplish this, I would just tap on Apple Cash, and I can flip it around by using the ellipsis top right, and it's in this interface that I can add some money. So I'm going to tap on Add Money. I'm going to tap that I'd like to get $50. And the moment that I tap on the Add button top right, what this is going to do is authenticate me to pull $50 from my checking account into my Apple Cash in the Apple Wallet. So I tap on Add. This next interface is what you're going to see whenever you're trying to authenticate using Apple Cash. Let's pretend for a moment, let's switch gears for a moment and pretend that we're standing in line at Whole Foods. At Whole Foods, you would normally walk up to a device called a terminal where you would enter your credit card or swipe your credit card to make a payment. That terminal, if you put your phone anywhere near it, it will instantly talk to your iPhone, and this screen is what you'll experience next. Even if your iPhone was locked, you pull it out of your pocket or your purse, and you put it near the terminal. This is what you'll see, and with a single double click of my button on the right side of my phone, it's going to scan my face and pull $50 from that particular card. And now that it's done that, the balance of my Apple Cash has gone up to $411 from $361. And I even get a little bit of a receipt notification at the top. That's kind of handy as well. And so now I've just pulled 50 and I'm ready to go send that to a friend. To accomplish that, I'm going to go and text it to him, if you can believe it. I'm going to go to my text messages, and I am going to cruise down to send this person $50. So I'm going to tap where it says iMessage and type a small message. Oh, in fact, I'd like to demonstrate using dictation in the text message, so I'm going to use the bottom right microphone. Thank you so much for dinner last night! ! It was so great to see you, and I'm sorry that I forgot my wallet, period. Hope to see you soon! tap on the keyboard in the bottom right, and the process stops recording. And now I'd like to insert $50 into this conversation via text. But where am I supposed to do that on the screen at this point? It's not totally obvious. On the left of this text bubble, you're going to see that little gray arrow that points to the right. With one tap of that, my message gets sort of minimized, and then I can see the icon for the App Store. If I tap on that, then Apple Pay springs to life right beneath the text where I would enter it, and if I tap on that little oval, it brings up this interface which is going to allow me to punch in an amount. So I'm going to tap on where it says $1, and it brings up the keypad, and I tap on 50, and I then tap on the word pay. And I'm going to say, it's saying these people are not in your contacts. I'm going to say I know. And then it instantly adds it to this conversation. If I scroll up a little bit, I can see that there's an X on the $50 if I wanted to send a different amount or just cancel this altogether. If I tap on the send button right now, it's also going to come back to the Apple Pay confirmation screen where I would need to double click on the right side of my phone on that button, and then it's going to scan my face, and then it's going to literally send them $50 into their text message. The recipient would simply tap on the black 50 that's going to appear on their part of the conversation, and it'll add it to their Apple Cash. And I'm going to cancel this, but what would happen for them is once the cash arrives, once they've tapped on that 50 on their side, they're going to go into the Apple Wallet, and they're actually going to have two options. They can just leave that 50 in Apple Cash, or they can deposit it directly to their bank via a transfer. So I'm going to tap on Apple Cash, and it shows my card, and then I'm going to tap on the ellipsis top right. And right there at the top is the ability for me to transfer to my bank. I don't have to transfer all of it. When I tap on transfer, it's going to say, well, of your $411.69, how much would you like to transfer? I can choose any amount that I want. Click on next, top right, and it'll walk me through the process and confirm using my face again. So that's the Apple Wallet app. I think it's a really nice feature on iPhone. If you're traveling in New York or Tokyo and you want to jump on the subway, you can actually get your train and travel cards put right into the phone, and your phone would just swipe it right at the terminal and let you through the gates. I think that's also really kind of a neat feature. The last thing I want to talk about today is a couple of fun things that we can do in the Messages app. So I'm going to tap on Messages. I'm going to go back to my conversation. And I wanted to go over a quick voice feature. So there's normal dictation in the bottom right that I've gone over a little bit, where you tap on it, it converts your voice to text, and then you can edit the text if you need to and send it off. However, you can also insert an audio message very simply by tapping on the little icon that's currently in the middle of my screen to the right of the word iMessage, that little gray circle guy. If I tap and hold on that, it's going to actually record audio, and it's almost like me putting a voicemail into a text message. This has some really neat applications. If maybe I'm driving and someone is texting me and I just want to have a quick response, but I certainly can't look down, and I just want to kind of get an idea out there, and maybe there's more than I can type quickly. So I can tap and hold on that and insert an audio message. The other thing that's nice about it is that sometimes it's hard to determine the amount of emotion one way or another via a text message. So this allows you to put your voice, which will make it really obvious to that person what you're trying to say. So I'm going to tap and hold on that message and record something short. Hey there, congratulations. I heard that you won the golf tournament yesterday, and I'm really happy for you. Talk to you soon. So now it's very obvious that I'm happy for the person, and I can either hit the X to the left of my message to erase it, because maybe there was a dog barking in the background or the kids were making noise or something. And but if I wanted to demo it to see before I sent it what my message actually sounded like, I can click on the play button to the right of that little triangle. If I tap on it, now it becomes a pause, and you can even watch it going through my message visually forms there. So that's really nice. And if I'm happy with the message, then I can click on send, that top pointing arrow, and the message will instantly go to the other person. I'm going to cancel this. But it's kind of a neat feature, and it's very, very fast. It's very easy to use, and sometimes it can save you a lot of time trying to explain something. And many people are using text as the main way that they communicate with their iPhones. So this feature, I think, is super, super valuable. Lastly, I wanted to show a couple fun animations. If I was going to send a text message to my friend Raphael, I could tap good morning and put a little icon, and now I'm going to tap and hold on my little send button. And here I have an opportunity, once I tap and hold on the send button, to get all kinds of fun animations on either the bubble, which is the actual text, or full screen. So if I want to get little demo previews of what these guys are going to do, in the case of slam, I'm going to tap on that little gray circle to the right of the word slam, and it shows me what that would look like. And then I'm going to try loud, and then I'm going to try gentle, and then I'm going to see what invisible ink looks like, and then I'm going to go back to loud. So those are all kind of fun features. However, at the top, the word bubble is actually a tab, and to the right of it is the tab for screen. These are going to make really fun full screen animations of this little text bubble. And if I swipe to the right, you can see that I'm advancing through all the little pages of choices. I'm going to swipe again. This is kind of a cool one with balloons. I'm going to keep swiping. This is the confetti one. That's kind of a lot of fun. The love, of course. Disco lasers. This is great for congratulations because they will actually hear those fireworks on their end when they receive it. It's a lot of fun. And then last but not least, we've got this cool kind of sparkly thing. So I'm going to send the confetti, or maybe I'll just send the balloons for good morning. And to do that, I'm just going to tap now on send, and the other person is going to get a good morning with some balloons. And so I think those are kind of fun little features to play with to add a little bit of life to your new text messages. I hope this helps. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I hope you have a great day. Talk to you soon.